So, my name is Jesper Mygind, and I have some similarities with Jamie. One is that I'm from the real Jutland. I head up the Trifork Aalborg office. I am quite a pragmatic person, and I think maybe that can be used in this talk. I have a technical background, been software developer, have been running some very large development project coming out from the mobile and the telco industry in Aalborg or Northern Jutland, and that can also be used in this context. I don't have any stories about bars, despite being from Aalborg and having an office 300 meters from Jomfru Anegade. But I have something other we can look at. So I'm going to take you through two cases where we have built systems on the cloud. One is for Track Unit, where we have used the Amazon Web Service, and the other is for Biomar, where we have used Microsoft Azure. This is about end-to-end system. It's about data processing system. It's users, it's data, it's analytics, and it's not about Office 365 and document sharing. We all know how that works. There's a lot of information on the net about cloud and strategy, and I found this one saying what's the motivation that we want to be more agile, we want to be responsive to the business, we want to save some cost, and we also want to develop our projects quicker. And you can read a lot about that. I would rather just look at some examples and see this is what have been done, this is for real, and there's also a couple of pitfalls. There are some models about IT systems, and as Jamie said in the beginning, I don't know how many years ago, we had on-premise, we had computers down in our server rooms. Then there was something about virtualization coming in, and if we can move to this area here where we buy software as a service, the good thing is that we can then focus our development, our effort in doing business applications, doing something for our business, doing something for our users. And in utilizing the cloud opportunities, there are some examples you can do. You have some application inside your business, and you can look out, are there a service provider doing this in the cloud? An example, simple example in Trifork, like probably many other customer or companies, we do project planning. I hope our customers agree that we actually do project planning. But we do that, or we did that. We used to do that in an Excel sheet, but then we found out there was actually a fantastic service called Float, and now we do that. Got rid of the Excel sheets, all the data into Float, and we got the advantages. It's easy. No one has to maintain this, and we can actually share the information. But that's a simple example where you can find the service that is fit for your purpose. What I'm going to speak more about is where you are rebuilding a business application and taking the opportunities with cloud into your account. So the first example is a company called Track Unit. Anyone knows of Track Unit? A few? Yeah. So Track Unit, they do telematics solutions. So in construction machine dumpers, they have a little black unit. You connect that to the machine, and then you can tell where's the machine, what is it doing. You can get some data about the oil pressure, etc. So it is for companies typically renting the machines or the OEM manufacturers. We worked with Track Unit, started about 2 years ago, and they were at a solution. I'm not sure if it was the A point or the B point in Jamie's curve, but there was an existing solution that was simply exhausted. And one reason for that was good, because the business was just growing. They started out having 60,000 of these units, and now they are about 250,000. So times 4 in less than 2 years, and that just continues. So they had to do something. But they were also in a position that they wanted to change the business. They have actually done a survey, and they had 22 different sectors, and they were looking at how digitized are these sectors. And construction came in on a very good place as 21. So there was only one sector in this survey that had less digital solution, and that was hunting. So there was a potential to introduce things like mobile and cloud first into this this sector. And TrackUnion, they wanted to reduce TCO. They wanted to come in and actually set an agenda about secure design, but also being a market leader in this domain. They wanted to get to the market quickly. They didn't want to say, in 2 years' time, you'll have this solution. No, they wanted to make it happen fast. They were also looking quite aggressively in acquiring companies. So the thing about having the ability to deploy a solution in maybe the US or even in Asia was also something that they were looking for, and that's something you get from the cloud. So just take a little. We'll take a little look into the sectors. So we have a lot of machines that are moving dirt or other things. Then we have the operators of the machines, and we have the fleet owner that have to manage all the machines. And if we take a little look at about how is the world for construction. Oops. And we just have to do like this. So good with some nice music here in the morning. So this is a domain with a lot of dirt and machinery is coming along. So how did we go about this project? And consider we were, or TrackUnion and the team, we were standing here. We need to utilize a cloud, how to build a system. So we were unconscious about how to approach the task. So we said, let's do the project in 1 month, or at least the POC. But let's consider the different elements of such a solution. So we did that and done an evaluation of the different technologies and platforms. And at that point in 2016, Amazon Web Services were the most mature and the most superior platform that was available, so that was chosen for this project. A side note is that I'm not sure that it would be the same decision we would take today, because and that illustrates how quickly the platforms they move. And I would also say that Microsoft in Denmark, I think they have a more you could say a dedicated partner program in Denmark, and is building up and supporting enterprises. So that could also be part of your decision criteria. So let's take a look at the solution. So we have over here. Yep. We have the 250,000 machines. They have the little black box. There's a GSM SIM card in those, so they are sending in messages to the system. And then we have the important part over here. We have the track unit on for the operators, where they can see what they're doing. They can do a pre-check of the machines, and the fleet owners can see the alarms, service information, and position of the machine. And then they have a lot of customers that is actually building this information into their own applications for charging, etc. So there's an API. But other than that, the rest is based in Amazon. So there are no servers in the track unit solution. So we are sending UDP packets up into the cloud. Then we are doing some buffering, various times of processing, and then storage in some databases. And all that is done in the cloud. You get some advantages with deployment, that you can deploy in various locations. You can deploy in the US, you can deploy in Frankfurt, you can deploy in Asia. But also, if you need to have multiple environments, you can easily set up production and staging and development environments. You don't have to go and ask the IT department, you need to order this, you need to fill out a form, and the system will be ready in an hour, a week, or depending on how speedy your IT organization is. Here it's like this. Some of the components we used, they are shown here, and I actually tried to do a slide of all the offerings just Amazon has. I am not sure that I could fit that into one slide as Jamie, because this is actually more than a slide, and you can do the same on Asia. There's so much available up there. And the question, we also discussed this, how cloud agnostic, how easy should it be to take some of these systems from the Amazon component to an Asia component, or to a component we've done ourselves. And we our recommendation is that it is too expensive to actually be able to lift your system from one platform to another, and probably you will not have to do that very often, because there will be other agreements in your company saying you need to work with Amazon, or you need to work with Microsoft or Google, etc. But you need to do and apply healthy IT design, so you have components so you can consider this one we will use because there's performance issues, there are other issues, then we can use that to something else. So an example is that the Amazon Kinesis, that is an Amazon-only component. We could have chosen something like Kafka, but that would have required more development work. We were on a short time frame, so we chose the Kinesis solution, but we are well aware that this can be changed. It will require some work, but it can be changed. And then you are actually getting something here that they didn't get in Aarhus yesterday. Because this was, Peter, he took that out in the censorship, that this was too technical. But I consider you technical enough to actually see this slide. No, the point here, this is showing how you create a Kinesis solution, and you put in some numbers, how many shards and how many megabits, etc. I would say if this component should be developed by your development team, this was about 6 months development, because this can scale, this can encrypt your data, it can persist your data. It has a lot of capabilities. And then the question is, but those 6 months, should we use them? And I think it's fair that you can ask the development teams, should we use those 6 months to do more functionality, or should we deliver earlier to the customer? And I think that is a big point with using some of these cloud applications. So, looking back at the track unit case, and I haven't reflected too much about why this case was so successful, but that was when I heard Jamie speaking yesterday, because this project was happening at the same time where track unit, they were cutting down the production. They were outsourcing the production. They wanted to be a software company. They were moving from Pandrup, which is very much up in the north, to Aalborg, to be close to the talent. And I also got a question yesterday. It sounded like quite a disruptive journey. weren't there any casualties? Yes, there were casualties. When this project was announced, the first developer resigned, and during the first months, 2 other developers resigned because they couldn't see themselves on this journey. They were probably too happy and stable in where things they were, and this journey where they could see new things will be coming, and it will be coming every month, it's not for me. So the first launch was done in about 6 months' time. And if I go back to the development project I looked at, this was about a 50-man-year project, and it was the budget. The actual was something else. This was a 2 or 3 year project doing similar functionality. So definitely in timeline, in doing such new generation projects, the cloud can help you in reducing your time to market. We've developed onto the project, and we have now done the on-app for the operators. We're doing some analytics, and actually also a spin-off, and I'm not sure we have considered that, or Trackion had considered that the business acquisitions they were doing, the integration of those systems are actually also easier to do in the cloud platform, and that coming back to the point about this mixed architecture. Good. So now we will deep dive, or we'll go underwater to a case for Biomar. Biomar is producing high...
Jesper?
Sorry, yeah.
Just a concluding question on that one. I understand sufficiently little about software to believe this could be done in 6 months, but there's actually a hardware box out in the caterpillars.
Yeah.
How did you do that in 6 months?
We didn't change that.
Okay.
That was existing because it's sitting out in the machines all over the world, and track unit are not aware of where they are, and that was actually also a limiting factor to the solution that you could not touch the entire system. So that they were untouched, and the interface and everything.
So it was a matter of updating the software in those boxes.
Yeah, actually only updating where they are sending information to. Good question. Yeah.
I assume the client or the Trackion had some requirements going into the project. Did they change the requirements through the process, or did you change the technology to fit the requirements?
The project was running 100% iterative, so I'm not sure if we can say that the projects they were changed or they were refined as the project moved along. We didn't do technology changes from the first survey and until the real project. It's still the same components being used, but the requirements they were not fixed at all in the project. So, producing fish food, that is something with big volumes, and also a lot of energy should be used to produce fish food, I've been told. I don't know so much about fish food. Biomar, they produce the fish food in Brande and also in about 20 other locations in the world. And what they really wanted to have was a better insight. They had some data. They had a SCADA system where there were some reports coming out from production. How much is this fish product using of energy and other information? And then they could optimize the production. But it was a bit too slow, and they were depending too much on the SCADA system. And they also had some other ideas that maybe we could understand something about our energy consumption directly. So they want to introduce and learn from the data. And we chose Asia for this system. And here we have the primary input, the SCADA system, but also systems for energy consumption, something about why our production is stopping, and other sensors. All sent up into the cloud via this API using the Asia Event Hub. So this is a standard component you pull down in Asia, and you can store all your events. You can do processing, and then you can deliver. Then you can deliver here some information production data to the corporate BI system, but this was really the whole value, that the local factory, they can get BI information and they can work with it and learn and optimize their production. And this is happening now. They get those data in. They are able to deliver to the corporate, but they get a lot of value from the local. And this is an example of a dashboard that they can with yes.
Yes. In the first project, you have chosen AWS, and if you kept on that, I would say for technical knowledge. But then you chosen Azure. Is there any specific reason for choosing one or the other, or it's a matter of client choices?
I would say both. Actually, Track Unit, they wanted us to do an evaluation, but they had some experiences, so they said we prefer Amazon. But and the same applies in Biomar, that they had Microsoft agreement, so they had preference to Asia. But I think the big difference is the time. The first project was December 2016, and Amazon was clearly ahead of the game at that point. I think now it's more an equal game because Microsoft has really put a lot of effort into improving their cloud, and I think this partner program that they have in Denmark is more attractive. So this was the result, that the customer, they could get insight in the data. They can sit and do this information, look at it, and from the idea to dashboard was about 3 months. They have now control of their own data, and they're using them so much that the first project about machine learning on these data is happening now, and also which was the vision for Biomar, that they want to extend this solution to other factories. And there's a lot more going on, but time is running out. But on Monday this week, we initiated the Gigantium Smart City Living Lab, and I didn't invent that title. But what it is about is we in Gigantium. Do you know Gigantium? It is the Royal Arena of Aalborg. We implement 50 of those LoRa-based sensors that can measure 10 different data like humidity and air control, air temperature, air quality, presence, etc. Send those into a LoRa gateway and put it up into the cloud. And then you can say, but that's not. This is more IoT. But the cloud aspect is that there are 5 partners working in the project. So it's a university and some other companies. And it is so easy that we could sit out there on Monday and share the information about the data, so that the company that is working on learning a model for the temperature regulation in Gigantium, they get the data and they get it on the spot, just like you are sharing a Dropbox link with your family for some pictures. And another project we are initiating is with Nilfisk, where they're building in sensors that can send data to a cloud, and then they can do data and analysis on those. In summary, there were 3 points on the first slide, and I would say approve agility and responsiveness. Definitely yes, and I think I'm a little bit. Maybe it's a pragmatic part, or maybe it's the project experiences. But I would just say get started. There's so much to achieve, and I'm not so afraid of some of the points that Jamie mentioned. So there's also some things that we don't agree on, but we agree on a lot. Saving money, I think it's a little difficult to do this calculation, but initially definitely yes. But you should do a full total cost of ownership before you can say something about that. Accelerate product development, definitely yes. So get started and achieve the potential. Some more points about these points. Cloud it's really ideal for proof of concepts and setting up machines quickly, but also the other parts that we discussed it can be used for, and you can make your business grow with the cloud setup, and you can have Amazon and Asia scale to your business. You don't have to buy anything and try to predict where am I in 2 years' time. The saving, I think the only point I would like to mention is you pay for what you need, and that is good, or what you initiate, and that is not so good. That you can, if you're in a big organization, you initiate a lot of services, maybe you forget to redeploy them, so the Amazon or Asia, they keep on billing you, and no one is really looking at where's this cost coming from. So be careful. We've seen some examples of growth that we didn't quite expect. This is a big area, and it is probably something that will be, in some sectors, preventing application of the cloud. Security, GDPR, big fines. There's a lot of good security in these systems, and it is also something that is in focus with the providers. Amazon has said that they want to upgrade their Frankfurt center to be at a higher level than the standard for German banks. The banks, they are not at that level, but Amazon, they want to be that in their Frankfurt center. So it will come, but of course there are also very sensitive data, medical data, things like that. Maybe private cloud is a better solution for that. But this is a big area, and there's some there are feelings, there's legal stuff in there. So I think that is a topic for itself too. But definitely something to consider depending on the business you are in. And this is a result of sitting down and drinking a cup of coffee with the architect in Track Unit and saying what are the points, what are you looking back at? And some of the things he was saying, think about your architecture. Microservice, that is really something you can benefit from when you go into the cloud. Automation, make sure you automate everything, same point that Jamie made. And the pitfall is it's so easy to just click and then you have done it. But if you have to do 10, 15, 20 clicks and you have to remember to do it, then the whole thing fails. Of course, running your IT system doesn't go away when you go into the cloud. You should still consider system monitoring, but focus at the application layer and let the provider look at the hardware and the CPU usage and things like that, because that's their business, so to say, and focus on your application. And then also the people side. DevOps really works well with cloud solutions as opposed to development teams and IT infrastructure teams. Thank you.